Hello my beautiful fragrance family, Dustin here, Fragrance Fan. And before we get started, go ahead and give me a solid and click that like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification so you know every time I upload some new content. And for those of you who already support my channel, thank you guys so much for helping me with what I do, because my goal here is just keep on bringing you guys these budget-friendly fragrances to use that $40-ish and $100 range. Most of them, a lot less than that. A good chunk of those you pick up at your local rack stores. Let you know what I think about them. There's a lot of gems out there that people don't really talk about. So the one I'm talking about today is a 2017 release, classified as an amber fougere, which means a nice, warm, spicy type of a fragrance. And I'm talking about Paris Hilton's Gold Rush Man. As you can see, it is a tester. That's why it doesn't have a cap on the thing, which kind of drives me crazy. But it's not always about the presentation. It definitely makes a difference in your collection if you have one. It goes from that almost clear to like almost a purplish type color. It looks kind of gray or black probably on the camera, but it's definitely like a light bit of purple going on in there. The atomizer isn't all that great. Kind of heavier droplet. Some of them doesn't squirt a whole bunch. And but let's just go over the scent because it's how this thing smells, right? In the top of this, there's mandarin, bergamot, and cardamom, and in the mid there's lavender, geranium, and sage. In the base, there's vanilla, amber, and tonka. So a lot of people compare this to Paco Rabanne's 1 Million. Now, when you first spray this, it will remind you of 1 Million. Would I say this is a clone? No. If they were trying to clone it, they didn't do that good of a job. Is it inspired by it? I would definitely say this is inspired by 1 Million. One of the main differences in 1 Million when you spray it, the initial opening has a real heavy dose of some mint. And it almost gives it a freshness to this darker, wintry type of a fragrance, whereas this plays a heavier role in the mandarin. And in the mid, Paco Rabanne has a nice heavy rose note, whereas this has more of a sage note. And 1 Million also has that notorious cinnamon type of note, whereas this leans on the cardamom and the sage for more of the spice. This has a decent amount of spice in it, but really the main players in this fragrance are the mandarin, the sage, and the vanilla. Now, of course, you're going to get some of the tonka and the amber to help amp up the sweetness, but the vanilla is the main player as far as the creamy sweetness goes in this fragrance to my nose. The sage gives it a decent amount of spice, and that mandarin kind of stays on longer than the other notes in the opening. My one qualm with this is when it dries down, it becomes quite synthetic. It's almost like a sour type of a thing. And it's not repulsive or anything like that, but it is enough that it will drop points in my rating system. I will give this a 5.5. Still decent, still pretty good. Now, if it was based on just the opening and it could carry that throughout the longevity of the thing, man, this thing would be like a 7, because it's a gorgeous opening in this. It smells really good, but it doesn't carry it too long, unfortunately. Longevity on this is solid. I get a good 5.5 hours, slightly above average. This is obviously a fall winter type of a fragrance. It's not a high heat fragrance at all. Most age groups can enjoy this. I would say it leans a little more youthful, but I think most people could enjoy this. If you like 1 Million, you'll probably like the way that this smells. If you're not a fan of super synthetic, you won't like the way that this thing smells. But $20, what can you expect? It's pretty decent for 20 bucks. So Paris Hilton, I've got 2 fragrances. I like both of them. I've wore this a couple times. We don't get many cold days in Florida, but I have busted this out, and it's not too bad. I wore it several times and I enjoy it. So that's my final thoughts on Paris Hilton's Gold Rush Man. With that, I'm out. Y'all be blessed. Take care of yourself always, and until next time.